Amidst rising cases of terrorism in Jammu, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, while chairing a high-level meeting on Sunday, directed security agencies to implement area domination and zero-terror plans in the Jammu division like they did in Kashmir to achieve this success. Union Home Minister said that the fight against terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir is in its decisive stage and phase. He added that recent incidents show that terrorism has been forced to shrink from highly organized acts of terrorist violence to a mere proxy war. He stressed that we are determined to root it out as well. Following this meeting, CDS General Anil Chauhan visited Jammu to take stock of the situation on the ground. The question that comes up is, what is the strategy that India should adopt in order to wipe out Pakistan terrorism and also the support that they are getting in this side of the border. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Mr. S.P. Vaid, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, Major General, retired, G.G. Dwivedi, defense expert, also with us on the program. Dr. Ramesh Raina, Kashmiri Pandit, also with us on the program. General Dwivedi, I'll begin with you. Well, you know, it's easier said than done, but terrorism in all its nefarious avatars continues to in fact haunt the people of Jammu and Kashmir. There have been strategies that have been made in the past, but the fact of the matter is that it's a very complex, it's a very intricate network of people who support these terrorists from across the border, and the propensity to identify them when they creep into civil society. How would you categorize this entire system and its potency at this point in time, and what more needs to be done, sir?
Well, Vineet, I think you have flagged a number of important points, and you also highlighted the complexity, the intricacies of this whole issue. But let me start with one basic premise, that so far we have been treating this issue of Jammu and Kashmir more like terrorism, periodic instances, but we have not taken it as a proxy war. And that is where the whole issue rests. That as far as Pakistan is concerned, they are engaging in proxy war since last about 4 decades. And the whole emphasis shifted to J&K after we defeated the proxy war in Punjab. Until we see this whole thing in entirety, we are not going to get it right, because ironically we see it either Kashmir Valley, north of Pir Panjal, south of Pir Panjal, and we try to replicate same tactics and also the same operational approach, but that's not worked. And our approach has been more reactive. Now let's come to the brass tacks at this instance per se. You know, in last 1 week we had 4 instances, and this is a repeat of last about 3 years what Pakistan has been doing in south of Pir Panjal. I know, having operated both north and south of Pir Panjal. In south of Pir Panjal, we had instances in Rajouri, Poonch, Surankot, almost a dozen instances last 3 years, and we have lost about 36 security forces personnel and 11 civilians. Now what has happened? Each time we react, we go on to domination, area domination, we try to get these terrorists out and clear them out, but that has not worked. And secondly, the Kashmir Valley and south of Pir Panjal are entirely different ballgame. What worked there will not work here, because the whole tactics of Pakistan are very different. And north of Pir Panjal in Kashmir Valley, today it is most like targeted killing. It's also targeting the Pandit, Kashmiri Pandits, or the labor force which is comes from the outside. The point I'm trying to make is that we need to take it as a proxy war, and today proxy war has complicated because it's a two-front war. There's China factor, because China is playing the grey zone warfare game along the LAC, and Pakistan is playing the proxy war, as I said, for last 3 decades in J&K. For them, no borders are there. It's all one India. I am speaking from Punjab. Here we are facing the drone warfare. And until we have a proper doctrine in place, until we take this whole thing as one fight to defeat proxy war, I don't think we are going to get anywhere. One Balakot, one surgical strike is only messaging, but it is not deterred Pakistan. Until Pakistan is deterred, until we have clear red lines, and until we are able to make Pakistan army pay for it, and this ceasefire or LAC is not working well because Pakistan army is having a ball, they are seeing the fun, and we are paying the price. So, Vineet, my last word is we need to have a doctrine for proxy war. We need to have a national effort and not see this in isolation or react from one event to another event. Vineet.
Right. Uh, Mr. Ved, you've served in this part of the country. You understand the sensitivity and the complexity that exists. Is it feasible to root out this kind of a proxy terrorism while being on this side of the border, or do you think there is this thriving need at this point in time to penetrate across the border and do what's necessary, because without that this will continue?
Good evening, Vineet. In fact, what you are saying, I think we have to do multi-pronged strategy. What you are seeing in Jammu after having lost ground in Kashmir to a very large extent? I wouldn't say completely, but yes, to a very large extent, the terrorism has come down by all parameters in Kashmir. The strategy shifted about 2 years back to Jammu region with the double policy of easing pressure in Kashmir Valley. What I understand, because there is a huge security grid in Kashmir Valley, and the idea of focusing on Jammu region is to ease pressure in Kashmir, number one. Number two, what you are showing eyeball to eyeball position in Ladakh to China. I think there is a collision between China and Pakistan to ease difficult rugged mountains with a lot of thick forest, whether it is Kishtwar, Bhadrawah, Doda, or Rajouri Punch. All these mountains, they absorb troops like anything. You put brigades and battalions, you lose them. So because one house is on this side of the mountain, the other village is on the other side of the mountain. So such mountains, they absorb a lot of troops. So that is the whole idea, to spread this arc of terrorism to Jammu region. That's what I understand. And to hit back, yes, multi-pronged strategy. Number one, we will have to ensure that no more infiltration takes place, that we have to bring it to almost zero, whether it is IB sector of the being guarded by IB, BSF, or the LOC sector of Rajouri Punch by Indian Army. We have to make it very, very difficult for these terrorists to enter, because in Jammu region, what I understand, there's very little local terrorism. It's all these are foreign terrorists. What you see in Rajouri Punch are all foreign terrorists. What you saw, 2 terrorists getting killed in Kathua of recent infiltration, were also foreigners. A group which has gone towards Doda, which actually committed 2 incidents of exchange of fire with the army and the police. Let's see what their composition is. But in all probability, all these are foreign terrorists, are those local terrorists who have been living for many years in Pakistan. So what is required in Jammu region is the police has to identify people who are actually providing local upper ground network and support in terms of providing food, in terms of providing logistics, or whatever support structure is existing in Rajouri Punch. That needs to be gone after by the local police. Number 2, the covert operations of the Indian Army, and today we have a drone technology which, without crossing the LOC or sending the force, you can hit inside Pakistan. The training camps are launching pads, I think, and most of their locations we know. That we need to exercise and call off the ceasefire, which I think Pakistan has done for its own advantage, because it needs troops in Afghanistan border, in its western sector. It is getting hit by TTP, it's getting hit by BLA. Without crossing. multi-pronged strategy has to be undertaken and go after all those terrorists who have managed to come inside. We must finish them off.
Absolutely right, Mr. Vaid. Mr. Raina, how do you think this is possible? In fact, before I come to you, let me also welcome Dr. Nirmal Singh, former Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, also joining us on the show. Dr. Singh, thank you, sir, for taking out the time. Well, we are talking about Jammu and Kashmir and how the Home Minister has said that there is going to be a phase-wise operation of stemming or taking out these terrorists, once and for all from out of Jammu and Kashmir. But the fact of the matter is, the ground, the harsh reality is, how do you achieve something like this when there are people who are complicit on this side of the border as well, when there are sympathizers on this side of the border as well?
Definitely, because when the foreign terrorists, they operate, they definitely have local support. But this time, that's not so much. Some of these overground workers are their guides. They have been recruited. They have been lured by these Pakistani ISI. But their number is very few. And we have seen it that even in Doda and some other areas, the locals, even in this Kathua district, because I visited that place where the one person, Amarjit Sharma, his neck was slit by these terrorists. I visited that area. But the people, they are providing information to the security forces. Very few people are there. Definitely, they are being paid. They are drug mafia is active there. They are involved in this drug trafficking also. So arms and drugs, they are pushed within Indian territory by these Pakistani, there's ISI and other people. What you see that their number is very, that's not so much as it was there in the 90s and in the early 2000. I think a few dozen these terrorists, they are there in Jammu province, but they have started target killing, giving message to the world community and people at large that they still exist. And when they saw that these assembly elections, they are coming, they are approaching very recent, within few days, months, then Amra Yatra is on. So they have targeted, they have started target killing, choosing this time. But you'll see that they shall be finished very soon, as they are not finding so much local support. But few people are there, they should be identified, they shall be punished. And even today, one senior commander, he has been killed in Bandipora by the security forces and Jammu Kashmir police. But they are able to give message to the people at large that they still exist. There is a panic in those areas where they are roaming. So security forces, the army, they are after them. They shall be apprehended or they shall be shown their place in a very few, less time. That's very sure.
All right, Mr. Raina, in terms of our intelligence, obviously there are always improvements. There are always things that are found wanting when it comes to our intelligence, and that has been upgraded in the last few years. But there are definitely, chinks in that armor that could be taken care of by the government as well as the security forces. But, there are some chinks which, still rely on pigeons and informants and no technology. Is that something which is also proving to be, a challenge for our security forces? And of course, I'm referring to the local help that they get.
See, let us revisit the statement made by the DG of police 50 days back when he said a war is being imposed on us from across the border. It's a very significant statement made by the DG police, which unfortunately did not get much of the light of the day. And in this regard, I want to tell you, a similar situation existed in 1998 when in Riyasi 22 people were slaughtered to death. And those people used the route, that was again in Riyasi, those people used the route of Bramport and Duckiport, and they left the place from Ghoul and Gulab. Therefore, after that, Operation Sarvanash was launched by Indian Army in 2003, where they killed 64 militants. And you'll be surprised to know that this was carried out in Hilkaka region of Poonch and Surankot. You'll be surprised to know that the system of hideouts that was found out to be largest ever in the known history of insurgency of JNK. But we need to understand, apart from intelligence failure or technical failure, whatever it is, we need to understand that it has an ideological motivation to change the Hindu demographic. Its organizational structure is intact. Not only that, it enjoys a considerable space both in Kashmir and both in Jammu. You will understand that from 2021 till date, there have been 8 attacks, and we have lost about 26 army personnel and 7 civilians have been killed. Again, I would like to tell you, there was a jihadist who confessed to the killing of, his name was Muhammad Suhail Malik, who confessed to the killing of 36 Chitty Singpora 6. And he was acquitted in 2015 for lack of evidence and repatriated to Pakistan. You see, one more thing we are not talking about, that is the victory of Engineer Rashid Baramulla.
Right.
Please go to the dynamics of the whole thing. The process of campaigning that took place in Baramulla.
So you're absolutely right.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.